ladies and gentlemen, it is start time. Are you ready for start time? Thank you, and thank you very kindly. It is indeed a great pleasure to present to you at this particular time.
It's your boy E-Dale, a.k.a. Mr. Facts, man.
That's facts.
Kick the truth to the young black youth.
That's facts. That's facts.
It's your boy E-Dale, a.k.a. Mr. Facts, man.
That's facts.
Let's start with the show.
Indeed, man. It's your boy E-Dale, man, a.k.a. Mr. Facts, right here with another episode on today, man. So today's topic, man, is does the black community need new leadership? Or is leadership just not needed in the black community? So today, man, I got my guy, man, Nut on. So, Nut, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you feeling today, bro?
Man, I ain't mad at nobody. I'm sitting up here watching nature shows and shit, you know.
Okay. So look, man, I got a huge question, man, about does the black community need new leadership? After talking with several people and hearing people describe, like with the gang members and community violence and all these things, and a lot of people outside of our community think it's a lack of leadership. So what do you think? Do you think that the black community has a lack of leadership, or do we even need leadership in our community?
Anything with a structure needs leadership. You know what I'm saying? But first you got to get structure. So,
Okay.
and you know, the black community isn't a monolith. Like, we got sectors that has different ways of thinking and moving.
Right.
A lot of us the same color, but we're not the same thought process. So, you know, like, I look at it from a standpoint that, first of all, you know, the culture in certain areas, because you got a middle class culture, you know what I'm saying? You got a lower middle class culture, and you got the higher class blacks, whatever you want to call those, the boule and all that type of shit. Then you got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you got the bottom line ghetto culture. And within all those areas, you know what I'm saying, there's a structure and there's a way of living that's not same throughout, even though we're the same people. So depending on where we start and where we at. So go ahead.
Right. But that can't really be like, is that, I mean, could that be like really be the reason why? I mean, because we don't have structure in our communities, the leadership is not present. I'm kind of on the edge with this, and I kind of can see it, you know, both ways, because I'm a person that, look, I do think that we need more structure so we could develop leadership in our community. I do think that we're targeting each other, and I'm on the mindset, I'm like, what for? Like, and then I'm on the edge of like, what possibly could leadership actually do? I mean, look, most of the people in our community still looking for politicians to help them, still looking for a handout, you know, from the government to help them, assist them. Not monetarily, but I'm just talking about as far as issues that plague us in our community. I'm on the mindset, I think, like, why can't we start reaching out for each other? So why is it so hard for us to just get on the same mindset and organize, like see the bigger picture? I mean, like, what's the gap between, you know, those two things, or the state of the community right now and in between that leadership role? Like, why is that gap so huge? Like, how can we, you know, fix that?
I think our goals are different. Like, you know, we got fractured as a people. And then, you know, that whole mindset of me, myself, and I in large quantities took off. So, you know, you'll hear people say, just like when you talk about the black family, because in any culture, the family is the base. You feel what I'm saying? If you have a family, then you can have a community. Right. Because if you have a mentality of family, then that's, you know. And then you look at the culture of America, we was raised on survival, and then the way the families got split up and all of that type of shit. So, you know, the mentality in the base, I think, of the people goes back to family, and then once you break down the family structure, it's kind of hard to have a community structure.
Right.
And so, I don't know. You think about a lot of things like, like I watched this one of the black activists, Dr. Umar. Everybody know him. I should know him. But you like him or not, it's a different story. But he was having he has this thing about black men and well, it's not black men, but dating outside your race for the black people.
Right.
And in that instance, I agree with him. I'm not gonna lie, I agree with him on that. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me, that's very important. And then some of the guys that he was talking to in this interview that I saw, they were like, well, whatever you want to do, it has nothing to do with me.
Right.
And that's the mentality of a lot of black people, that they don't believe that, or we don't believe that our actions affect our brother. And see, that's a thought process of the culture, and that's a breakdown of the community, because nobody believes that their action hurts or helps their brother.
Right.
And everybody has this, not everybody, but a lot of us have this mentality, will just do you. And that's not helpful. You gotta, when you look at different cultures around the world, now who's the Jewish leader?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
see, look, and I know exactly where you're going with this, because I'm, like I said, I'm on the edge with this, because like you don't know. Like, if we look in the white community, we say who's the white leader, and you know what I'm saying? There is none. We don't, you know what I mean? They don't know. So that's what I was trying to get black people in our community to focus on. Look, even though we say, yeah, we do need structure, we do need leadership in certain, but look, just look at it. Why can't we come together as a community and do what other communities are doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm of that mindset, like that, man. So I don't see people us asking who's the Jewish leader, or who's the leader over here in Africa for this, or who's the leader wherever else. You know what I'm saying? So I heard, I was asked some, I was told something interesting, heard something interesting talking about this with a white person, and they just said that the black community needs more leadership, and they always go back to Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, and I'm like, why are you going back to them? I mean, I don't even know if, you know what I mean, they, play a role in.
Well, I'll be honest, man. Even with that, right? Because if you go throughout history, when you look at a lot of our people that were considered leaders, and a lot of our so-called leaders got flack because, okay, a lot of them would get like W.E.B. Du Bois, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Peanut Man, Carter. I mean,
I know you're talking about the guy that created the peanut butter and all. Yeah, Carter.
I can't think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Washington Carver, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those people were backed by whites, liberal whites. You understand what I'm saying?
Just like Black Lives Matter.
So, right, and so what would happen is, and not degrading any of the our brothers from then that because what the white people would do, they would pick the ones that were, dare I say, docile, or they felt had the views that they would like to push, and they would back them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so they would get pushed to the forefront and be called the leaders. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, that's why I hate that movie Black Panther, not to get so far off the subject, because, okay, you push that guy out there to make that movie, and in the movie, it seemed like we tough, but when it come time to actually do something for ourselves, they break that bullshit down. They sold that faggot-ass movie they sold that bullshit-ass movie to the fucking world, bruh, and they made it look like this is how shit is supposed to be done, and everybody threw their fists in the air because we fucking, nah, man, fuck all that. It is weird. So, the whole breakdown of fucking thought process for me, dealing with our people, is everybody has to come to a collective conclusion that my actions affect my brother. And in that sense, then, right, and in that sense, then, you will come to the realization that that, okay, it's just like when we, black men, every last one of us are on edge when we go into an area with a bunch of other black men, especially in the ghetto that we don't know. It's like we get on edge and we already ready for war. That's crazy, bro.
Right.
That's all right. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm being one that's like that because we all came out these streets in some way, shape, form, or fashion, and so we get ready for war. In instance, which means there's no trust. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. There's no trust at all.
Right, and you ready to hurt versus help, and then it has to, and that's just crazy as shit. So the mentality of each individual has to change to where your brother don't look like your enemy, your sister don't look like the chick that's been running your wallet. You feel what I'm saying? And to be honest, each one, once we get into that collective mindset, is a leader.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, because I don't want people misconstruing like gang life as leadership, because that's what people are looking to now. The younger ones, they're thinking that they're shot callers, or they're calling it whatever you want to call it, and they're thinking that this is community leadership. This is how it's supposed to be. These are the people we're supposed to be following. It goes right back to what you said, that you're not aware that your actions will hurt your brother next to you. You know what I'm saying? The goal is to build. That's what I thought. I thought the goal and the objective was to raise up out of poverty, you know what I mean, or out the ghetto, or out the hood. That's how I view it. So, and trying to get these kids to steer back into that mentality, to have that mentality, and to be able to think and feel and view your brother, the person next to you in your community, the same way. I say that's leadership. You're right, because you're leading by example. You know what I'm saying? You're not following. You're not doing what the in crowd or the other people say or your peers say. Do. And that's just how I see it. In order to be a leader, you have to be creative. You have to be a thinker. You have to think about the next person. So I think it was well said what you said and how you said it, about viewing your brother, until we adopt that mentality of not wanting to hurt your brother. Then we won't be on edge when we go into other black communities or other communities with people that look like us, because it makes no sense that, you have to already don't trust the people that look like you, you know what I'm saying, in other communities, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm in the mindset, I'm just like, it seems that most of the people are lost about that. How do we drill that into them? You know what I'm saying? Like that thought process, that mindset, like, I don't even know if people are even willing to listen anymore.
I don't know, man. What I do understand is, man, shit, just be the example. I mean, like I say, man, I'm a Bible thumper like crazy. You feel me?
You ain't no Bible thumper, man. You read the Bible just because you read the Bible and you follow His rules and law. I mean, you know what I mean? It doesn't make you a Bible thumper. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to catch the Holy Ghost right now.
I think we need the Holy Ghost. I mean,
but I'm saying it within that, it's three processes, man. The growth in the Bible: seed, water, increase. God is in charge of increase. Each man or woman is seed and water. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So you just plant the seed and you water it, no matter how and usually that's being the example.
Right.
And so once you understand that you are an example, I mean, because listen, you could be a force of good or you could be a force of bad. And then on top of that, once you get out a sense of self and then you believe in selfless service, like I say, man, a lot of us, in order for us to be a community, you got to look at your brothers, you look at yourself. Right. And once you start doing that, then, it's like, man, back to the Bible. I'm from the Bible thumb now. Now back.
Oh, go ahead. Elaborate.
In the Bible, it states, man, the locust goes as one, but it has no leader. When you think about locusts, man, and swarms of locusts, when they go, they tear up tons of shit. And there's not one that you can point out that's saying who's following who. They go as a swarm. And there is no leader. There's not one locust saying, hey, follow me. They just collectively get together and just start tearing down shit. Crops everywhere. You see what I'm saying?
Gone.
Yeah, it's a collective, and the fact is, it's a trigger that happens with them. It's almost like, back in the day, the revolution would not be televised. People don't understand what that really means. When what's my boy name? I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, anybody who out there thinking about this, man, my guy, Gil Scott-Heron, that's his name. The revolution would not be televised. He came up with that poem back in the day. It's cold. Now, what he means by that is that it starts with a mentality. It starts with a mentality. It starts with a thought process. Right. He wasn't talking about really being on TV and all that other shit. When he was saying the revolution would not be televised, it starts with a mentality. And once we get that mentality, my brother's my brother and all that type of shit, and it takes off, and that gets contagious as the locusts run through, you know what I'm saying, and when they go in their swarms. And once we turn into a swarm of that mentality, then it leadership won't, like I say, man, that really won't be an issue, because each one will be a leader in their own right. You feel what I'm saying?
Right, I get it.
Each one will be a leader in their own right.
That's a great analogy, because I was in the barbershop just this morning, talking about this, not into your sense, along those lines. And I gave an example. I said, look, just look at the Latinos and the Mexicans. I said, right, they have a whole community that they will go and they will fix each other up, houses up for each other, help each other, one doing sheetrock, one hammering nails, one doing this, helping each other build. They're not jealous or upset or looking at the person that's in the position to, get theirs built quicker or get theirs built now and wait their turn. You know what I'm saying? They help each other. They live with each other. They don't scheme on each other's wives. And, all of these things. I mean, I'm pretty sure they do have some of those issues and things going on. But from a large standpoint, you don't hear a bunch of that going on within those communities. You know what I'm saying? And they're helping each other establish the main thing. The main point I'm trying to make is they help establish one another, right? They're like that swarm of locusts that you were talking about. They will come together, and you can't point out who's the leader. You're just like, who is who, and they're all together. They're not downing each other. So, and I was giving that example this morning. I said, the black community, we need to be more like that. I said, if I was building a house in my community right now, it'd be a person with a hammer that'd walk beside me knowing I need help, mamming nails in, it won't even stop to help, but to walk by the way the hammer or hit me with the hammer one. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't being funny, because this happens for real, and I was serious, and I wanted them to understand, like, what are we doing here in our community? Why aren't we helping each other? Like you said, we don't trust each other. You know what I'm saying? So
that's facts. Well, I mean, it's hard to do comparisons, man. I don't really like doing comparisons, to be honest, of the races, because, their circumstances are different. And then, and they do have the problems we have, but their circumstances are completely different as far as how because you think about, man, in prisons, especially on the West Coast, as far as I understand from some of my partners that's been out there and been in prison out there. You feel what I'm saying? Like, the Mexicans and the whites would get together against the blacks. Wow. We're looked at as different on the totem pole on that scale. You feel what I'm saying? So, and it's a weird dynamic. It's a lot of cultures that come into this country that kiss up to the white man. You feel what I'm saying? Right. Not saying the Mexicans in or outside of prison do that, but a lot of races that come here, they like, hey, look at us, we're not like them. Right. And so they haven't gone through the same, breakdown of structure as we have, and not making that an excuse for what we have. Because like I say, man, you got to look at certain examples of races. Like, I keep going back to the Jews for a strange reason, because them people have been persecuted and shitted on across the world, but they keep their shit together for some strange reason. That's a weird dynamic to me. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's strange, but it's still true. Like, they keep their community thought process together. And for some strange, and even back to Africa, you can't go back to bragging on Africa about shit, because them, I'm gonna keep it deep. They listen, it's the difference. We left Africa and became slaves in another country, or got taken from Africa, got kicked out of Africa, however you want to call it, because the white man really... Well, yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot to learn with that, because if you go through Africa and then you start talking to those rulers that lost money, and I'm talking about the African rulers, not the European rulers that were complaining about the money they was losing or what wasn't gaining, or the assets that they weren't gaining because the slave trade was getting abolished. There was African kings that were upset about this shit. So it's a double-edged sword now, because the white man didn't start really going inland into Africa until like late, because it was called the white man's death. They didn't have immunity to a lot of the shit so they would raid the coastline and all that other type of shit. But a good portion of that shit, we were captives getting sent out and all that other type of shit. Then the white man just said, fuck it. Once they got immunity and some more things, they just started going inland and getting shit on their own. You feel what I'm saying? And even the structure over there, they became slaves in their own country to where they have the same problems we have now. I watched a damn video. Well, it's called the Dandies of the Congo. Well, these motherfuckers got dirt roads, but they buying YSL shoes and clothes. And I'm not being funny. This is a fact. Like, you gonna look this up. Like, it's the craziest thing. And so the mentality is no different. They came over there and got destroyed in the same manner. And to keep it G, to this day, they're slaves in their own country, still fighting that same. And then if you look at it, a lot of the videos and it's like they're copying our culture in the wrong way. Right. That's just not good. And then their structure got murdered like ours did, because they became slaves in their own country, depending on shit from the outside. They're trying to find their way too. That's why, it's kind of hard to really do a comparison of what should and shouldn't be done as far as our brothers across the globe, because all of us, to me, are in a systemic place of bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we're not in that great place. Their leadership over there is horrible, bro.
Right.
Yeah, because everybody talking about let's go back to Africa. And then I'm thinking to myself, so I can get beat out of my money by another nigga?
Right.
In a different continent. I want to be over there complaining like, you feel what I'm saying?
Right.
At least I know the enemy over. Yeah, at least I know the enemy over here. I mean, shit, you know what I'm saying? Over there, everybody look the same. So, but man, I think everybody needs to pick up their own cross. Right. And then, because listen, man, one thing I do know, when I'm sitting in a room full of niggas who complaining, I know I'm in a room full of nowhere.
Bro.
Like, hey, when I'm sitting in the room, a cat's like, hey, man, I got this moving, and I don't hear nobody talking about, well, niggas ain't doing shit. You want to know why they ain't saying that? Because everybody around them doing something. They don't know who not doing shit. Right. So the only thing is to get those collective minds in those type of rooms to not be scared to go help the brother outside of that room. Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? And then and that's why, man, in every sense of the word, when I go out somewhere, and I'm not no stock guru or no real estate guru yet, but the pieces and bits of knowledge that I do have, man, I get that shit away for free. Like, I understand that our community does not have enough to tax for everything that's going on. Like, you cannot put these exorbitant prices on your people when we don't have it to do what we need to do individually. Like, true, set your price in those areas that's necessary that you can get it. But when you going back home to yours, man, give it away. Mm-hmm. Like, give it away. And then once you start that chain reaction of just giving and being, that process of seed sowing and planting. Right. You feel what I'm saying? Right. Like, you might just change that person next to you. And then in that sense, that collective thought process, that locust process, it'll take off on its own. You won't have to have nobody come and say, hey, man, follow me. For what? We already going that way. You feel what I'm saying? Why don't you follow us?
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And that'll be a different thing, man. But
Yeah, like
I don't know.
like you said, it starts with mentality, man, in the community, man. That's why I say in order to develop that leadership, you know what I'm saying? Like you say, the seed and the water, you know what I mean? And God give it the increase, you know what I'm saying? It takes a certain type of mentality, and that's and listen, look, no, for real, and that's why I pride myself on continue doing something. Like when sometimes we talk, you be like, boy, I love when I talk to you, boy, because you gonna try something new, you gonna keep doing something, you ain't stopping, you gonna
straight up.
I try to keep myself busy, keep my mind occupied with things that would benefit me. You know what I'm saying? I don't focus on what other people are working on or what other people are doing. If they want me to be a part of it or want me to step in and help, give some assistance, I'm all willing to be hands-on, helping, because that's just the type of person
even with that, to me, you chopped your whole self in half because you said benefit you, but, bruh, listen. Just like now how we sitting here doing this podcast. First of all, this ain't my thing. Like, I talk too much shit. I'm going to say something that's going to offend cancel these motherfuckers. You feel me? Like, I'm going to talk my shit. And I might not get that far because of the shit I talk. But even with that, let's just keep it AD. And this on record for future references, just in case. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
If God bless this to the level to where it gets to that point, my partner, I'm on his coattail right now. You want to know why? Because I'm too lazy to do this shit. I really, So if this shit up, and in that instance of just being, and that's reality. And in that instance of that. Oh, I'm talking through my nose because it's snotty right now. But in that instance of reality, bro, just because you're doing you and you have a goal set, bro, you're not scared to bring nobody with you to get this shit popped up.
Nah.
Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, you willing to reach out and say, hey, man, we could collectively do this and that and the other regard. And, I give you a lot of pushback on a lot of things because you're going to wake up tomorrow and be like, hey, man, nut, bro, you should...
You had your own show going. No, why you do that, man? Come on, man.
Yeah. You gonna tell me to go set up a TV show tomorrow? You feel me? I'm be like, bro, no. But as long as you pushing, guess what? I go.
Right.
And that's the craziest thing, because you feel what I'm saying? As long as I'm willing to help you any way, shape, or form, as long as you pushing, bro, I will go. But when you stop, shit. My feet kicked up, man, digging my nose.
No question about it. Because when it pop off, that's it. You just kick your feet up, you know what I mean? Blow your nose, dig in your nose, you know what I mean? I'm going to be right here to pop up.
But whether it's stop or go, right. You feel what I'm saying? Right, you feel what I'm saying? I'm going to ride or I'm going to chill. But and just because I'm willing to help my brother, and just because I know you willing to go, right. You feel what I'm saying? And your hands open while you're doing it. And so that's not the mentality of most. Most people, they just, they are truly selfish. You're not a selfish guy. You're a selfish guy, but you're not a selfish guy.
Right.
And at some point, we all have to, and that's the whole thing of treating your brother as yourself.
Right.
If you looking like, you feel what I'm saying, you can do it, then you gonna bring somebody that you think can do it too. And that's the mentality of a lot of people. They get their little cars and they hide their hand when they should be showing what time it is, so everybody can progress along the same rails. Especially if you get in that room full of like minds. You feel what I'm saying? And I know my brother reached out to me because we got like minds on a lot of things. You feel me? And then on top of that, if this pop, it pop. If the whole community gets that together, well, what's the leader? What's the point of a leader? That's the only time you will really need a leader is if you have to pick the strongest in the thought process when it's time to go to battle. And somebody's strategic in this way, then we have to do things on that level. But as far as a community, if we all had a community structure in itself, that would be in itself its own protection versus saying, hey, let's pick this guy or this person, you know what I'm saying, to do this. No, in that community, once that community is already set, you can pick the best of the best for a specific task in that manner. But aside from that, you know what I'm saying, if we moving as a unit, then, the unit is the brain. We don't need a brain. You feel what I'm saying?
Right, because you're only strong as your community, how they work and how they in tandem and working together and operating together inside that community. So if you're killing each other, your weakness, you separate it, and you're not joining together, then you're just your chances of being successful in your community decreases dramatically. So I mean, if you want to see, uptick in positivity, a decrease in poverty, things like that, it's no other way other than to come together. And as far as the leadership, man, I'm not sure if we just need great leadership or just somebody to come and say, hey, here I come. I'm the next Dr. King. We're here to lead you. We're here to lead this revolt. No, I don't think it should be that way. I think it should be enough where the mentality of people in our community that just say, you know what, if you're saying that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then do something about it. Change yourself so that and make a positive change so that it will affect the person next to you. Help the person next to you. Reach out to the person next to you. And my next thing when I was coming to this, because I'm puzzled by the whole leadership thing, and I really don't, like to get into it, but I'm just puzzled at why we got to make it so cool to hurt each other. It's cool for our community to war against each other. I mean, I don't even know how that even became a thing. Who even, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting back every day.
Well, you know what's crazy about that, man? And this is a fact, right? Only 5% of every population, as far as statistics is concerned, does crime, right? So, listen, every last one of us listen to gangster rap. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's been documented that me and you've been in the streets. You feel what I'm saying? Bro, we never listen to music to guide us in our endeavors.
Right.
Like that shit might have been a soundtrack to our life, but it wasn't the fucking blueprint.
No, sir.
We wasn't following that shit. We wasn't following none of that bullshit that none of them rap niggas was doing, man. You want to know why? Because we was doing what the rap niggas was talking about.
Right. I remember you specifically used to say that all the time. Shoot, he rapping about our life. They rapping about my life,
Bruh, listen, and that's fact. So you got to think, man. It sounds way more horrible than it is because really, art imitates life. Life came before art. You feel what I'm saying? Now the question is, you might have a certain amount of impressionable youth out there. I mean, and that get the idea that this is the way and all that other shit. Man, come on, man. It's more college students listening to the gangster rap than a little bit. You got more white boys listening to this shit than a little bit. None of them picking up their guns and doing that. The only thing is they're making a lot of money off of it, and it looks. And I'm not discounting the fact that bullshit is out there, but it just it looks way worse than what it is. And I'm not saying it should be allowed or accepted, but it looks way worse than what it is. All of those songs, I mean, because you got to think, all of Black America ain't poor and fucked up. Right. Like, it's just not. It's all of Black America is not that poor and fucked up. That music is coming out of the ghetto.
Right.
It's just the music. That music, all of Chicago does not look like Lil Durk and the rest of them cats. It just don't.
Right.
It just don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not it's the soundtrack of the streets, and it's coming from that place to where, like I say, art imitates life. The artist was born before the art was, and so even when we was making music, we was making the music that we liked. You feel what I'm saying? And the crazy shit is, boy, you was that gangster, but you was doing more party tracks than the motherfucker. I mean,
I used to like the club, man.
Bruh, but this got what I'm saying though. So if that's bro, you know how crazy a dynamic that is? Like, bro, I could tell your story. And niggas won't believe that, hey, my dog was, hey, shake that ass.
Hey, that was my first hit single right there, man. That was my first hit single. I'm still proud of that single. I could play that right now and it'll move the club.
No bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So just think about that, bro. All the shit that we was doing, bro, you ain't make no songs that I can remember. I mean, you had the Hustle Man joints, but it wasn't like, man, we got big blocks over here. We got, bro.
Right. Yeah,
so, I mean,
I didn't want to tell, but see, I didn't want to tell people that, you know what I'm saying? Even though I was out there, you know what I mean? I didn't want to just, tell people that, you know what I mean? So,
but that's what
weird.
I'm saying. So just really think about that. Like, the gangster really wasn't talking that gangster shit. I mean, really think about that, bro. And we was in them shoes, bro. So we give too much credit to that shit. It's almost like, in my mind, it's a throw off. It's really a throw off. Like, people get focused on the bullshit. Like it's just weird. Like, it's just really weird. It's more white people buying that shit than niggas.
You're right.
That's just a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But the black people focused on that. Now, if we change the mentality within the ghetto, and we change a lot of the systems and the circumstances that's happening down there, you feel what I'm saying? The music would be different. That's just a fact.
Yeah, you're right.
If we change just think about this, and that's just a fact. If we change the circumstances there, the music would be different. If a lot of murder stopped happening there and all that other bullshit and the gang shit decreased, the music would be different. Yeah. The art would be different. Like, the whole movement would be different, because the art comes from the street. Them young niggas only the ones that's really on that. And you could tell the authentic ones when you listen to that shit. Because if you lived it, then when you listening to certain shit, you like, okay, buddy really been out here. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can hear that shit. You know it when that, you feel what I'm saying? You like, okay, that jit been out here. You feel what I'm saying? But the rest of these motherfuckers, man, they rapping on they rapping from the sideline.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I guess those are the people that I'm really trying to reach out to and help, man. You know what I'm saying? Those people in the ghetto, man, because I understand. And I try to tell people, look, they be like, yo, you bash the community now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I don't, man. I want you to understand, like, what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? The situation that you're placing yourself and your family and your neighbors.
That's weird. People don't understand, man. You can't invite nobody into your crib till you clean it.
Right, exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. And listen, and this is what people don't understand, man. That there has to be a fight on all fronts. So I don't knock the guy that has a conservative mentality.
Right.
That's saying, okay, and I'm not twofold. I just don't knock him. But if his fight is the fight in the way of, okay, I have a conservative thought process, I'm gonna push this agenda, and it's not hurting the community. You know what I'm saying? And it's not hurting our community. It's not feeding that other community. As long as it's not doing one of those two things, it's not hurting ours and it's not feeding theirs. And the most important part is actually building us up. Whether I agree with him or not, okay, then I'm gonna leave that guy alone. That's his fight. I might not agree with everything that he's doing it and the way he's doing it, but if it's not hurting, it's helping, and it's not feeding them over us, then okay, that's how you gonna do it, homie. So that's not the way I'm gonna do it, but okay, you handle your business that way, and as long as we see that same pinpoint mountaintop, then cool. You feel what I'm saying? Because that conservative guy is not gonna go into the ghetto.
Right.
He might just feel like, okay, that's a lost cause. Okay, so that's my job, because he's gonna say, hey man, leave those people alone. Okay, so we finna go into the trenches. You feel what I'm saying? Okay, we finna go into the areas that are lost, and we gonna talk to, and we gonna grab the ones out, and then so to him, our fight is hopeless, but he's not. It's the same. So everybody has a stance that they need to make on each corner. So the people that don't understand that, it's just like you go back to the civil rights movement, man, and you got Carmichael and Angela Davis and a lot of those movements that started being against. Well, I ain't gonna say so much Angela Davis, but it started being against the thought process of Martin Luther King and those nonviolent guys.
Right.
Now, everybody had a different way that they wanted to fight, but the goal was the same.
Right.
The goal was the same. The outcome and how shit was moving might have been different, but as long as the goal was to love and to help your people, it was the same. Because I was hearing, a lot of once they started the Black Power movement and that type of deal, they was calling everybody from the nonviolent movement scary. Or the house Negroes that's crazy. Right. And that fight should have never came to the forefront like that.
Right,
what
that
they
should have been a
done.
behind the scenes fight. That should have been a fight behind in the community with each other. They talking it out and trying to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that could hinder. Because that's just another way of hindering. And people outside of our community, mainly white people, they see that the infighting. They're like, well, let them fight it out. You know what I mean? They want to do it this way. This one person want to do it this way. You know, it's their community. And then you guys end up fighting and forget about the whole entire cause, which is to ensure that your people have every chance, just like any other people, to be successful. You know what I'm saying? And that's what
you
the problem
fracture
is.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fracture it just like Donald Trump when he was pushing Kanye West to run for president.
Yeah, that's
all he was trying to do was split the vote.
Yep.
Because he figured there was going to be a certain demographic that was going to vote for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if that happened, then he didn't have to worry about a large majority of votes going one way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To go against him.
And
so yeah, he's going to push.
Which was the case that you and I made about a month or so ago about black people being political pawns again. So like I'm saying, all these things tie in together. You know what I'm saying? They just come back to fruition and come back to the forefront, and the issue always remains the same. It's mentality. It comes to like, what do you really want for yourself? What do you really want for your community? You know what I'm saying? How do you want people to view you? I tell black people, look, get into business. Look, we need to own our own grocery stores in our communities, our own gas stations in our communities, just like everybody else. And that's not saying that we want to be segregated or apart from everybody else, but why can't our communities generate, you know what I mean, money with each other and all these other things? And that's my thing. You let people come in on the outside, just buy your community up. Now you don't even have a community. You don't even have a say-so where you live. So, you know.
Man, no bullshit.
I want my people to get ahead. I want my people to understand that, look, and it's a couple of ways. You have a way that you can help to, explain and tell black people a way to get rich where it's enough money for everyone. And look, I even have a way to tell them where it's enough money for everyone and it's an occupation that you could get in. And guess what? You will never step on no one else's toes by working. And that's logistics. You know what I'm saying? No matter if you're transporting or whatever you're doing, if you're brokering, look, it's enough money for everyone. You don't have to worry about looking at the next person or your neighbor. You know what I mean? It's because it's connected globally. You know what I mean? Through trade.
Right.
So through
right.
And that's what I tell. That's my message, because I don't know enough about the stock to tell them that this is a way. Which I know I've had extensive talks about it, and I do know that there is a way through stocks that people in our community can lift themselves up, So, and it's enough money for everyone. You're not stepping on anyone's toes, So it's just about your mentality and how you proceed.
Assets and investments, my brother.
Right.
Assets and investments.
And that's all I'm saying, because when you go, what do you want to leave for your family? You know what I'm saying? What do you want to leave for your loved ones? A bill? Because look, I'm just saying, there's no honor in that. There's no honor in that. If I passed away today, I don't have nothing to leave my wife but this policy that I have. I want to be able to leave her everything. You know what I mean? My future earnings, my savings, my assets. I want her to have everything and take control of that and make sure she builds off that. That's my goal. That's what I want to teach in my home. You know what I'm saying? How to maintain, sustain, and grow. So.
Yeah, man, you planning on dying first?
Nah, no, I don't. But I'm just saying, look, that's the mentality. I have to think about the future.
Yeah, I got you.
I have to think about the future and prepare myself. You know what I mean? Life is just about preparation. That's the entire thing. If you prepare yourself for those times that you know that are going to come, those times that are inevitable, and that you know they're going to happen, you just don't know when, but you still have to prepare yourself for those times. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's all I'm trying to do for my life and for my family. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be able to educate my community to be able to do that.
And once we get that mentality, man, like I say, the community in itself will lead itself. It actually, we won't have to pinpoint who's the leader, because everybody will have, it's just like, man, when World War I, well, more so World War II. They call World War II the greatest generation because they didn't have to bait them boys up to go fight. Mm-hmm. A lot of motherfuckers just looked at the circumstances around the world and shit. Motherfuckers say, hey, man, I'm finna go take care of this shit so our country will stay safe.
Right.
Like, that was a collective mentality, and nobody had to press the issue for that. Like, nobody had to that wasn't something they had to beg people to go get into.
Hey,
People collectively.
I hate to stop you. We got 40 seconds left, and I got to end the show, and I know you're going on, but we're gonna get back into this topic, man. We need to get back into it real soon, man, because this is a great topic, man, and then we need to keep the people interested and keep them focused on what's really going on. So look, man, today on the show, man, I got my dog, man, Nut, in the house, man, as usual. On Facts, man. I hate to get out of here like this and leave y'all hanging with the show, but we will have part 2 to this show on community leadership and the black community coming up with your boy, E. Dale, a.k.a. Mr. Facts, and my guy, my co-host, my resident guest, Nut, in the building.
Yo.
Until next time, I'm going to holler at y'all. This Facts. It's been a good one.